Moving heavy loads with a manual pallet jack just got better with PowerPallet. PowerPallet changes the way we move heavy loads by combining the convenience of an electric motor with the maneuverability of a manual pallet jack. Now you can move heavy palletized loads easily with the PowerPallet. No more strains, pulls, or aches and pains from pulling or pushing loads manually. PowerPallet helps an operator move a pallet of materials in and out of tight spaces, trucks, warehouses, or stores. And if your work requires frequent stops, the PowerPallet is more convenient than a forklift because it's designed to allow an operator to easily start, stop, and walk away from the unit without having to unbuckle a seatbelt, shut down store aisles, or ask for a spotter. The PowerPallet can lift a load as high as 6 inches off the ground and carry as much as 5,500 pounds. With PowerPallet's grab-and-go technology, the jack can pick up loads with fewer pumps than a standard jack and go to where you need quickly. Before you step up to the machine, make sure you are familiar and comfortable with the controls and know the load capacities of the jack you are operating. In this video, we will cover basic operations and controls and learn how to operate the PowerPallet safely. We'll talk about common accidents and the injuries that can occur if the PowerPallet is misused or the operator is not properly trained. And our main focus will be on safe operating procedures. The PowerPallet's control handle and tiller regulate the direction, speed, and braking, and you steer by easily swinging the tiller handle in the intended direction. The control handle also has a belly button, which both turns the PowerPallet on and drives the pallet jack away from the operator if the operator contacts the button in an emergency situation. To turn the PowerPallet on, simply press the belly button. You'll notice the mode operation light and battery indicator light turn on. The throttle control paddles on either side of the control handle are used to drive the PowerPallet in forward and reverse directions. To drive forward away from the operator, push the top of the paddle on either side of the control. To drive in reverse toward the operator, push the bottom of the paddle on either side of the control. To operate the horn, push the horn button located at the top of the control. Warehouse mode is the default operating and use mode of the PowerPallet and is indicated by a green mode light. The PowerPallet will not operate in warehouse mode with the handle in the upright position. Truck mode is indicated by a yellow mode light and is used for maneuvering in and out of tight spaces. It is optimal for backup truck applications. Truck mode will allow operation of the PowerPallet with the handle in the fully vertical position at a reduced speed. Manual mode is indicated by a red mode light and allows manual operation with assisted braking using the throttle. This allows continued manual operation of the PowerPallet even with a depleted battery, so you are never stuck and unable to deliver a load. To turn the PowerPallet off, press the mode button and horn button simultaneously. When traveling with a load, releasing the throttle will engage the PowerPallet's brake assist to slow the load to a stop at a safe speed. The brakes will also engage if the tiller handle moves into the fully upright or fully lowered position while operating. The PowerPallet has a parking brake located on the left side of the drive unit. To set the parking brake, simply pull the pin out and move it into the lower slot. This will immobilize the PowerPallet. Use the parking brake when you want to prevent unintended movement of the PowerPallet. When lifting a load, be sure the lift control lever is moved to the down position. Once the load is lifted, be sure to place the lift control lever back into the central neutral position. When you are ready to lower the load, simply pull up on the lift control lever and the load will lower. PowerPallet uses a small, light, high-performance battery that charges off the machine. To charge, simply set the battery on the charger. The battery's charge time is approximately 120 minutes. Multiple chargers can be daisy-chained together for convenience. Installing or removing the battery from the PowerPallet is quick and easy. To install, simply engage the front edge of the battery into the front bracket and rotate the back of the battery down until it snaps into the battery release plate. To remove, pull back on the battery release plate while rotating the battery up and forward. Then lift the battery to disengage the front bracket. Unfortunate as it is, accidents sometimes happen when people operate motorized equipment, and it usually comes down to the operator. Either the operator is not following safe procedures, is not familiar with the controls, or is distracted. By paying attention, following the rules, and using the equipment in the proper manner, you can avoid these common types of accidents. Losing control of the load by taking a corner too fast or braking too fast. A person gets caught between the equipment and a fixed object. Pedestrians or operators have their feet or toes smashed or run over. An operator is crushed by product falling from shelves or storage racks. Workers engage in horseplay or improper use that can lead to an accident. A pedestrian is hit while traveling around a blind corner. Once you have been trained and authorized to operate the PowerPallet, it's your responsibility to practice safe operating practices and procedures, and it all starts with a pre-use inspection. Inspect the PowerPallet daily before being placed into service. If the PowerPallet is used on a round-the-clock basis, it needs to be examined before each shift. Begin with the pre-operating visual check using the checklist. Be sure the PowerPallet is powered off. Using the pre-operation checklist, inspect for physical damage that could affect operation. Are the wheels in good working order and free of damage and debris? Check the condition of the forks for any damage, cracks, bends, wear, or other deficiencies. Be sure the drive wheel and steer wheels are in working order and free from debris. Check the steering operation to ensure it is functioning smoothly. Inspect the battery for physical damage and check the battery restraint system. Move the drive control paddle back and forth to ensure it operates freely. After the pre-operation visual check, perform an operational check with the power on. Is the battery indicator light working? Make sure the control handle moves up and down smoothly, the forks raise and lower properly, the wheels turn smoothly, the speed controls work properly in all modes, and the belly button switch works. The brakes stop the PowerPallet and the horn is in working condition. Be sure to check all of the safety items on the pre-operation inspection worksheet before operation. If you see a problem or defect with the PowerPallet, don't use it. Mark the unit as out of service and report it to your supervisor. Now that you've completed your pre-use inspection, you're ready to start moving loads. Now let's say you approach a load and this is what you see. Just because someone managed to stack a load onto a pallet doesn't mean it's safe for you to move it. If you're not sure whether the load is too heavy or too large for your PowerPallet, don't hesitate to ask for help. Also, check the condition of the load. If it looks unstable or off-centered on the pallet, don't try to move it until it is centered and secure. Use shrink wrap to secure the load if it might slip. Off-centered or oversized loads reduce the PowerPallet's listed capacity and stability, which were figured under ideal conditions, meaning a uniform load with a precise load center placed perfectly on the forks. Make sure the pallet itself is not broken or missing any boards, and has openings large enough for the PowerPallet's forks. Don't set boxes or other containers directly on the forks. The PowerPallet is designed to move loads only when properly loaded on a pallet or skid. When approaching a load, slowly align the forks so they'll enter the pallet or skid evenly spaced. Move both forks under the load as far as possible while keeping the load centered on the forks. Raise the forks until the load is lifted just high enough for the wheels to engage and for good floor clearance. Pre-plan your route ahead of time before traveling with the load. Make sure there are no obstructions that might present a hazard. Position yourself so that you have clear visibility and face the direction of travel. Whenever you can, have the load trailing behind. This will give you more steering control and allow you to watch for uneven floor surface and other obstacles that might present a hazard. When operating with the forks trailing behind you, always have one hand on the controls. Use the hand closest to the PowerPallet to operate the control handle. When possible, walk ahead and to the side of the unit when traveling forward, and keep your feet out of the path of the PowerPallet. If you need to operate the PowerPallet with the load leading, always place both hands on the control handle. Watch out for load swing when making sharp turns. Make sure you have clearance and watch for people in the area. Avoid extreme movements by operating the controls carefully with smooth inputs. Start and stop gradually to prevent the load from shifting position. Come to a complete stop before changing direction. Turning too quickly can cause the load center of gravity to shift, which can lead to the load falling or the unit becoming unstable. Slow down and sound your horn at all intersections, cross aisles, and whenever your vision is obstructed. Don't assume that others can see and avoid you. If someone is in your way, wait until it is safe to proceed. Never drive head-on towards anyone standing in front of a rack, shelf, or other fixed object. Communicate with them so they know you are approaching, and always travel parallel to them while keeping a safe distance. It is important to maintain a slow, steady speed and make sure the brakes are working properly. If you sense that your load is about to tip over, step clear of the unit if possible. We do not recommend operating the PowerPallet on ramps and incline. Because of its maneuverability, the PowerPallet is great for operating in tight spaces such as freight elevators and truck trailers. When you enter a tight area, enter with the load end leading. Always be aware of your surroundings and maintain a safe distance from the edge of the ramps or platforms while on any elevated dock or platform. Also, never ride on the equipment yourself. Now that you've arrived at the drop-off location, it's time to deliver the load. Carefully steer the load into place and come to a complete stop before lowering the load. Feet can be crushed when forks are lowered, so be sure your feet and others are safely out of the way. Lower the forks and look carefully as you're pulling out and watch for pedestrians or objects. Okay, the job is done and it's time for a quick break. What do? Choose a level space to park the PowerPallet that's not in front of an exit stairs, walkway, or fire equipment. Forks should be fully lowered and all controls should be powered off. The PowerPallet can greatly improve both the productivity and ergonomics of your operation while still maintaining all the flexibility afforded by a manual pallet jack. The PowerPallet allows you to effortlessly move heavy loads, but you must also always operate with care. Also, follow the operating instructions and safety guide, practice safe operating techniques, and be attentive every time you use the PowerPallet.